everyone. It's a real pleasure to be here with you. It's a pleasure to be here at the Procurement Week, my first time. I'm very happy to be here among a lot of experts. I've been introduced as an expert of public procurement, but indeed I don't qualify as a real expert, certainly not among you. What I humbly think I am an expert of is European policy and European politics. And this is indeed the task and the mission of the association that I chair, which is the European Builders Confederation, an association representing roughly 2 million companies at the European level, exclusively SMEs and mainly craft companies. To give you a very quick idea of the construction sector in Europe, the construction sector is roughly 3 million companies in the 28 member states of the European Union. That is roughly 13 million workers. And this sector develops roughly, even a little bit more than 10% of the EU GDP. So it is by far the most important single industrial sector, much more important from an economic point of view than the automotive sector, than the steel and the mining industries. It is a sector made of very small companies. Average construction company in Europe has less than 4 people. So why SMEs at European level, and why SMEs access to public procurement? Well, we believe that, as the title of the session says, at last there are some breakthrough for SMEs access to public procurement. We believe there are at last because it is long overdue that the most important sector of the European construction industry takes part more deeply into public procurement. It is not in the same way that we believe it is a real breakthrough. Allow me the pessimism, but it's not a real pessimism. It's the way the European Union is built, and it's the way our directive is transposed at national level. Directives, as you all know, are not directly enforceable legal texts. They have to be transposed into national laws, and this particular directive leaves some room for maneuver at national member states level. This is why certain of the improvements, advancements that were made in the European Directive 2014 may be very important points, may be very important advancements for the SMEs that I represent, but it really depends on what the national governments will do with all of it. Will do, for example, with the article that has already been debated deeply about lots. There is no obligation of splitting into lots by the European Directive. There is an invitation to split into lots. There is an obligation to explain why the contracting authority has not split into lots, but that is nowhere near the obligation to split. Why we believe lots are important, because all surveys of our members, but also the European Commission, indicate that the size of the contract is the most important limiting factor to SME participation in public procurement. So we believe that lots is one of the important points of the solution, but since it has already been very debated, let me focus maybe on other points. One of the most important points is simplification of the procedure. Of course, when certain steps of the procurement do not always have to be proven. Certain qualities do not always have to be proven by original documents, have to be renewed every month. When certain self-declarations are possible, this is much easier for a company, a small company, the average small company of 4 people that I was mentioning before, to participate directly to public procurement. Of course, our members, our companies participate in subcontracting in public procurement contracts and chains. But for us, it is also important for them to be able to participate directly to these. The lots, the simplification. But of course, for us, another very important point, certainly in a specific part of Europe, is timely payments. Timely payments and payment delays and late payments is the third most important factor limiting SME participation to public procurement. And payment codes that certain countries have are very important initiatives, but we see the public procurement directive closely linked to the late Late Payments Directive, another very important piece of legislation that the European Union published in 2012. So there are a lot of things that this directive does. We believe that the most important, one of the most important challenges for the construction is to adjust to the price-only tenders and go to the economically most advantageous tender. What will be the criteria? Will the criteria be visible enough, clear enough? Will the criteria be a bit too subjective, too open to be open to too much consideration from the contracting authority? Will they be clear to the SME that is bidding? Will certain strongholds of the SMEs be among the criteria? For example, the number of apprentices that a company has, in our opinion, could be one of the social criteria in awarding contracts. So this is really the moment where the national governments and the Commission are working on the transposition. The national government in a more active role, of course, the Commission in a more monitoring role. So we already had first meetings with the European Commission in Brussels to monitor the transposition. Us as a lobbying organization at European level will walk our members through the transposition process. We are already doing that from 2013, end of 2013, when the final agreement on the directive was reached. We have certain good news, we have certain worrying points. It is not satisfactory and it is not meant to be representative, but the French government, the UK government, the Italian government, they're going into their own very specific directions in transposing the directive. For example, I laugh about it a little bit, but it is a bit sad to see that the French proposal to implement the directive, transpose the directive, is actually making step backwards on division into lots, whereas we as a European lobbying organization took the French code of public procurement to propose the division into lots in the European directive. Well, Article 44 of the European directive is inspired, let's say, from Article 10 of the French code of public procurement. The French government has proposed a draft piece of legislation transposing the directive, which is making several steps backwards on division into lots. It is, in fact, doing in our opinion, doing exactly the opposite of what the directive is saying, because the new article on lots is excluding de facto and ex ante sectors of the public procurement markets that will not be divided into lot. This is exactly the opposite, in our opinion, of the principle of the philosophy of the directive, which is to explain why and how you don't divide into lots. This legal text is giving ex ante exclusion of certain sectors. Fire brigades houses will not be divisible into lots anymore in this project of the French government to transpose the European directive. So this is in a way different from in our opinion from the stance the UK government has taken. We believe that the UK government is making forwards for SMEs. This is what our UK member, the Federation of Master Builders, is saying, and they're looking forward to the European Union rules. Can you believe that? It's looking forward to the EU rules to improve SMEs' access to public procurement. There is another specific case of Italy where the construction sector is even more fragmented than Europe-wide. Roughly 2 persons per company are in the Italian construction sector, so even smaller companies. Well, in Italy, only 13% of companies up to 50 people participate in public procurement. A very small percentage if you think that 99.4% of the Italian construction companies have less than 50 people. So we believe that there is a lot of work to do. As I said, the breakthrough can only be if the national governments take the responsibilities, and of course if the national SME associations communicate their needs. This is what our members need to do. there is another very important debate which is right now going on in Brussels, which is the single European procurement document, which is on the paper maybe an important advance in simplifying the procedures, but as always the devil is in the details. So the SME community is already very worried about the content of the delegated act that the European Commission is preparing on making this single document a reality. The European Commission is working on the transposition, as I said, and they're looking forward to not only infringement cases to bring upon the member states. That's the most stringent role of the European Commission. But in a very recent meeting, the DG GROW, they have rebranded themselves as DG GROW, the DG Enterprise and Internal Market have merged. And the European Commission is looking forward to best practices of SME access to public procurement. I think I will certainly take some of the ideas that came out of today as good ideas to bring to the European Commission. And I really hope that there is a possibility to improve SME access to public procurement in the right way, with the right instruments, and of course with the right measures at national level. Everything must not be ruled by legislation. A lot is ruled by practice. A lot is ruled by culture. We are happy to change our culture also in order to participate more to public procurement. We're also happy to be part of this community of this week in order to find out with you how we can do that. Thank you.